A Knife at My Throat, Character Book 1, Unedited, Chapter 4. I can't use a knife to make dinner. I've cut myself accidentally. I call it a memory. I rarely use a knife to eat dinner. If you don't find why in the past 3 chapters, you probably shouldn't be in my story. If you can't find how, then I relate a knife at my throat with a 6-foot guy on top of me, ready to blow up an apartment, who I kicked off to save my daughter. You truly don't need to read on. As a girl took my daughter into the bedroom, I just couldn't see harm to my daughter. The complete story is better for a movie. To kick out a glass window was not easy with my child in my arms to save. Relate this to how many times do you think I traveled city after city on buses and in cars with nowhere to go? Explains itself. And don't give me the give my life up for God plane of peace. No one should have to give their lives up for anyone. Don't ask how many times that line has been thrown at me too. This is my story. I will write what I please. I will live on earth with some of my mental blocks forever. To change who I am isn't the answer. Those links in a chain only last so long before they either have to be replaced or break without replacement. If only room after room of anywhere but home would go away. I hide in my car sometimes as I did in the playhouse. Only difference, my father isn't calling me to come home. I did enjoy chasing skunks. One time I had to remove all of my clothing outside to be burned, and then I was given a bath. Let me remind you, not by my mother. My father gave me my baths when young. I was left to be dirty, teeth not brushed, and only my mother knows what else when I was growing up. My mother and father would fight over me having a birthday cake. I don't think I ever got a birthday cake from my mother. I know I didn't get a card. My father was the peacekeeper. I was being spoiled with the birthday cake, according to my mother. My mother was grilling hamburgers for a birthday party my father forced her to have for me. She quit and sent everyone home. Recently, my best friend reminded me how my mother pulled me by the hair. She would hit me with the mirror and hairbrush. I got lice a lot. If the doctor didn't live close, come to the house, I probably would never have seen one. The beehive in the shed ran into me when I played hide and seek was mad compared to how my mother treated me. I played with hail in hailstorms. I sat under trees during lightning. Anything was safer than my mother. Tornadoes were fun. I got to escape into the hole in the ground shelter. My father had to call me to come out of there, too. I don't sit around feeling sorry for myself. I think of how I was bitten by the neighbor's dog, then had to have tetanus shots. Not even a tear for me came from my mother. Later in life, I was bitten again. Fortunately, I'm well trained now in defense. I survived with minor long-term damage, about the same amount of damage to my mind as my mother gave. If this isn't a continuation as fear and running through a glass door at the sound of a footstep, I don't know another way to rationalize how a windshield breaks in near the same place and near the same time within the same year. Have you ever heard bumps in the night? If not, then you don't belong in this story. I got the measles. Guess who took care of me? My father and my doctor. If birds and bees don't live in a house together, there isn't a home. If history doesn't repeat itself, we are all living in an unreal experience. I did get to be a Girl Scout. I was a majorette. I think my mother finally left by then. My mother said I sent her away. I don't know what kid wouldn't. She left on her own with everything my father bought her when she maxed out his credit card and left him for broke. He survived. She took all of the videos and pictures from my youth. My father was good about family memories. I near destroyed everything I learned and owned. I near destroy all now. I have to work through a negative was determined to drive me down. I don't venture into any successful thought without a defeat. If you had a mother's love, you could never relate to me. Was this also her intent, to be sure I would never relate to anyone with love? If you don't sleep well, you can't talk with me. If you sleep like a baby, you were loved. I will survive.